genre.
Welcome to The Doctor's Companion presents Doctor Who The Long Way Round, the weekly podcast where we review, discuss, and recap every episode of Doctor Who, one doctor at a time. I'm Cassandra Fredrickson.
I'm Nick Jimenez.
And I'm Scott Corelli, and I'm sorry this episode is so late. Totally my fault. Sorry, everyone.
That's whatever.
I cringed when you said weekly. I was like, oh, that's right. Whoops.
Close enough.
So today on the show, we're wrapping up our first round of the Long Way Round, and with the 11th hour, the first 11th Doctor story,
Our last regeneration story.
Well, our last post-regeneration story.
Our last post-regeneration story.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have way more thoughts about it than I thought I would.
Me too.
Yeah. I'm kind of excited to talk about it. It is the first episode, obviously, of the Stephen Moffat era. So it's written by Stephen Moffat. It's directed by Adam Smith.
No relation to Matt Smith?
No. Adam Smith, who went on to direct Time of Angels and Flesh and Stone. So those are his two stories that he's done. He also directed 4 episodes of Skins, so that's where he came from before this. And he sort of, despite only directing 2 stories, he sort of created the tone and the look of the Moffat era.
Yeah, it almost bums me out to know that those are the only episodes that he directed after this, because I'm not a particular fan of either of those episodes, but like this is spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
I love this so much more than I remembered loving it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are a few things in it though. I do have nitpicks that I think I've never really noticed before. That I'm interested to talk about, especially, rewatching it now with the entire Matt Smith era over,
Right.
The whole thing is behind us now. And so we can look back at this story and see the things that they were setting up and, how well do we think that these things got paid off? So a lot of things. What did you, what was your sort of thoughts revisiting this, Cass?
I've seen this story at least 10 times at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one.
Same.
Yeah, it's the one. It's like my go-to. Like when Doctor Who was getting really big, this was the episode that I'd show people. Because it's the start of a new era, so you kind of like launch into it and be like, okay, so if you like this, you should go back and watch this, and then we'll continue on with this crazy guy. But yeah, no, I really, this is like one of my top 10 Matt Smith episodes, honestly. So it was nice.
Oh,
to
yeah.
see again. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I guess, right off the bat, the thing that I noticed was, one, unlike David Tennant, who, as the Doctor, was forced to be a slow burn in his first episode because of the nature of the story of him being asleep most of the episode, and then he like literally comes through the door swinging. But Matt Smith, like, he just owned this role so quickly, and what I noticed this time was like the youthful exuberance that he has in this story, and this like kind, like sort of, he has like a real like sweetness to him that kind of melted away. Like, I feel like by the time you get to Time of the Doctor, I mean, he's both literally and figuratively a crotchety old man. which actually makes the transition to Capaldi make more sense. Like, looking at the way he acts in 11th Hour compared to the way he acts in Time of the Doctor, it's like, oh, now suddenly it makes sense why Capaldi was next.
Mm-hmm. He just goes through so much stuff.
Yeah, he really does. That's the one thing, you know, like not all of it works. And I would argue a lot of it doesn't, but Moffat really put his first Doctor through the ringer.
Mm-hmm.
In a way that really changed the character immensely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, there are positives and negatives to that, but I do think I respect what Moffat did with the character, just because, you know, he was like, look, I got all these ideas. Not all of them are going to work. Like, I would rather that than the wheel spinning that went on in the middle of Classic Who, you know?
Yeah.
Where it was just the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of interesting things to talk about in this one. I do want to, I figure we'll just kind of go through it, as the episode unfolded. But, the first thing that I want to say, and this is something I've literally never really put my finger on before, but okay. So do you remember, so in Star Wars, in the first Star Wars movie?
Yeah.
Before the special editions, have either of you seen the version of the original Star Wars without
yeah, of course,
prior to
yes.
special edition?
Yeah.
Cass, have you?
Not in a really, really long time.
Okay. So you know how in the special edition they added that scene of Han Solo talking to Jabba the Hutt?
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
So there's that scene, and they're in front of the Falcon, and he's talking to Jabba the Hutt, and it's this whole thing, and it's terrible CGI, and it's a stupid scene, and it's dumb. It doesn't belong there. But the thing that, yeah, it's a really dumb scene. But the thing that is so offensive about that scene is the fact that we see the Millennium Falcon in that scene prior to the scene in which the Millennium Falcon is revealed.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a scene right after that where Luke sees the Millennium Falcon for the first time, and it's this big reveal of the Millennium Falcon, and then it's undercut by Luke saying, What a piece of junk.
Right.
Yeah. But the problem is that reveal is the wind is totally taken out of the sails of that reveal, because we had that stupid scene with Jabba the Hutt where we saw the Falcon in the background. So that is all I could think about in the opening scene of the 11th Hour, because we get this scene where the TARDIS is crashing and Matt Smith is hanging out the side,
saying nothing,
and then he climbs in and shuts the door and sighs, and then you cut to the thing, and it's just a cold open,
right? But
it doesn't accomplish anything. It doesn't do anything. We already know he's crashing because he said that they were crashing at the end of time, right after he regenerates. So we know where we left him off. We don't need to see him hanging out at all of this is like, it's expensive and it's pointless. Like, there's no reason for it to be there. And then the worst of all is that when the TARDIS crash lands in Amelia Pond's garden and she goes out there, we get that amazing reveal where the doors pop open. There's smoke. The rope with the claw flings out, and then he climbs slowly, like one arm at a time, climbs out of the TARDIS and pops his head out and asks for an apple. And it would be the most amazing reveal of a new doctor, if it hadn't been for the stupid cold open that doesn't do anything but take away from that moment.
Yeah, just like an all-encompassing, like, this is this new Doctor.
Yes. Like, that shot being the first you see of our new Doctor, like, since the initial regeneration, like, 4 months ago, it would be incredible. Like, that would have been such a more, like, profoundly, like, iconic moment. And it's already an iconic moment, but it would have been so much better had the episode not had that cold open.
Yeah, if it had just opened with, like, the silhouette of a TARDIS flying against, like, the moon.
Or no, not even that. Just open on the garden and Amelia praying to Santa.
Oh, do you not see that? Okay, for some reason I remember there being a little shot of the falling TARDIS at night.
Oh, was there?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I didn't think so. It's just a pan across the garden, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. With her in like off camera, like voiceover sort of pre-lap, whatever.
Dear Heavenly Father.
Yeah. Dear Santa.
I'm Karen Gillan's niece.
So like I love it as a reveal, and like just the idea that, you know, oh God, it's such a wasted opportunity because you have this little girl praying to Santa, which is the most adorable way to take religion out of prayer. Like, it's just because it's such an innocent thing, like where you can just tell that Moffat was like, I wanted her to be praying, but I don't want it to be religious, and I don't know how to make a prayer not religious.
Dear Creator.
Yeah. And then her just asking Santa for a police officer. What does she say? She says, I'm scared of the crack in my wall, and if you could just send a police officer or something else, or
if you could send somebody like a policeman or something.
She says two things, and then the third unsaid thing is a doctor.
Warmonger.
I forget what the other thing was, but yeah, like, and then you just hear the TARDIS noise, like, oh God, it's so iconic. And to say nothing of the fact that if you hear the TARDIS noise, then what did the cold open mean at all? If he's crashing in London, like he's physically crashing in the cold open.
Yeah, the TARDIS doesn't crash; it lands peacefully. Apparently.
But if it's going to crash, then why not just, I don't know.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. But I really love that opening. The opening of the actual episode. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to wipe the cold open out of existence. I really just want to pretend it doesn't happen because it would be such a cleaner opening. Even if you wanted to open with the garden and then the Santa, and then he comes out and then the reveal and he says, can I have an apple? And then like, yeah, like it would be that, like that would be even fine if you needed a cold open. Like, it's just, it was just, like, I just watched the cold open. I'm like, what a waste of money. Like, what a waste of thousands of dollars. Probably tens of thousands of dollars. And just wasted. Like, for no reason. Because it does nothing for the episode. It bumps
probably took like 2 Matt Smiths.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably did.
I agree with but I think, like, looking at Matt Smith's tenure and like Moffat still, who's, you know, the head writer still, I think it's kind of like it's kind of like Moffat's like whole thing like compressed into like 5 minutes, because you have like the big flashy like, why is this happening, and then you have this really solid, really cool and iconic thing afterward. So I don't know, it kind of, to me, it like kind of like that first, like the cold open, and then like where we meet Amelia is like very, very Stephen Moffat, like the two, like his poles or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense.
I kind of love, so much makes sense. like I was watching the opening moments of this episode, after like, can I have an apple? And like, oh my God, I was like, it hit me. His first ever interaction is with a child.
Mm-hmm.
Like that probably had such a profound effect on him,
Yeah, I mean, the episode ends with that line of her just being like, I just thought you were a madman with a box. And he says, oh, I'm definitely a madman with a box. And I just think about the phrase madman with a box and how similar it is to the Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, oh. Like that was always what it was. Like, and we've called Matt Smith like sort of the Cat in the Hat doctor, because he shows up, tries to be fun, and ruins everything. and it's interesting because like that was him from Go. Like that was sort of, it seemed to be, that was the pitch. Like that was Moffat's idea of the 11th Doctor. Cause that's very thematic. Like that, the ending of this, just being like, I'm definitely a madman with a box. And it's like, oh, that's who this guy is. That's Moffat's view of the Doctor, or at least.
Now let's go save a star whale.
Right. Exactly. So like, I think that's cool. And I appreciate it. It's like, it doesn't always work, but when it does, it really does work like gangbusters.
Yeah.
It really does. And that's one of the things that I feel like Moffat doesn't get enough credit for, because he makes a lot of mistakes, like a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
But the highs are so high.
I mean,
like they're so high.
I mean, I think now that I've seen all of them, hello, by the way, I think that this is the strongest post-regeneration story.
Oh, hands down, I think.
Yeah.
Hands down. I think it's this, and then probably Spearhead, I would say. I'd say those are the two strongest ones. What would you say, Cass?
Spearhead, definitely. If this isn't the strongest, it's definitely one of my favorites. Like,
I want to watch Deep Breath again.
Do you?
I do.
Oh, should we just continue on and start recovering the 12th Doctor?
Sure, I'm down for that.
Anything to stop us from going back to the first Doctor again, right? Oh,
I'm excited to see the old frumpy ones again. I just
yeah. One thing I noticed, I think this time, and I think it had always bothered me, but I'd never really, I guess, put my finger on why. But the girl, and I know she's her niece, but like the girl that's playing Amelia, I don't in any way buy her as Amy.
Really? Why?
She's lacking an energy,
like a gumption.
A gumption, yeah. Because he says that thing where it's like, oh yeah, like madman with a box, like fell in your thing, and you feed him and you cook for him, and you're not scared of anything. And I was like, yeah, it would have been nice if she had sort of that, those little girls who just have that like
an Eloise.
Well, no. Like that attitude, that thing where you're just like, where like this little 8-year-old girl will just like look you up and down and just be like, you ain't much.
Yeah.
And it's just like, whoa, what? I feel like that's what's missing from Amelia. For me to make the connection that this is the same character. And I know that she's been through some stuff. She's been told she's crazy by like 4 different psychiatrists.
Yeah. Right.
Because of this guy
somewhere down the line.
Right. But I feel like that's not enough to build a core of her personality. I feel like that attitude that Amy has would have been there from the beginning. And so it just feels like there's something, she's almost too innocent, I think.
Well, she's too just there.
She's too childish. Like, I feel like Amy as a little girl would be one of those little girls who tries to act big all the time.
I want to see. She's almost acting kind of more like a young Rory.
Kind of. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, a little bit.
So the doctor trying on foods, remains delightful.
The food montage is really fun. It's still really fun. And I like it as an explanation of how regeneration works. Like an establishment of like, this guy has no idea what he is. Like, he doesn't even know what kind of food he likes because his taste buds are different.
Yeah. And I love how quickly he explains it. Like, new stomach, new rules. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm good. I don't need to hear about.
Right.
You know,
and Amelia asks like, you know, who are you? And he's like, I don't know. I'm still cooking.
Yeah.
Like, I love how, like, this episode feels like something that Moffat has had inside him for like 20 years.
Yeah.
That finally came out.
I finally get to tell my story, my regeneration story.
Right. And I really like that vibe about it, you know?
I also like really that, cool. Like, he's more, like, there's not as much, like, because you know how in post-regeneration stories, like, they're either, like, knocked out or, like, completely crazy or whatever. Like, it's kind of, like, he took the best of both of those things. Like, there's, like, moments where he's just like, he, like, doubles over in pain or whatever. But he, like, it's not, he doesn't, like, languish, you know? Like,
he doesn't make himself someone's responsibility.
Yeah, Tennant. No, I'm just kidding.
He almost builds it into the 11th Doctor's like portrayal a little bit, where it's just like he never quite got to rest, and so he's a little crazier than all the other Doctors. Like, you know, like he's really like his brain never settled. Like he never settled into this new body.
He never had time for a nap.
Yeah, so he's always on the move and he's always working and always crazy. And it's kind of interesting. I really do. I like that because even when he got to Capaldi spent the whole episode napping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
off and on, like the old man that he is,
napping and moping.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the food montage. You know, it's funny. Watching this, you know what doesn't really work anymore? Now, you know, we're 5 years out of this.
His hair?
At this point. No, the crack.
Oh.
The crack is really dumb. Aww. It's really, I don't really like it. I don't
looking or like the idea of it?
The idea of it. And like, I don't feel like it pays off very well, you know? Like, I like ultimately, like, what is the crack? Like,
it's the plot, Scott.
Yeah. I mean, like, eventually, like, it even does this thing where you think that it's tied up at the end of this season, and then suddenly in Time of the Doctor, the crack is back and gives him his new set of regeneration. And so it's like, so the crack is like Gallifrey, like missing and trying to get in contact with him. Then why is there a prison behind the crack? And it all becomes very apparent that Moffat was just thinking of cool stuff, you know, and trying to roll with the cool stuff. And I think that ultimately he stuck the landing. I really do, but like by the skin of his teeth.
I don't remember. It's been too long since I saw Time of the Doctor, but I don't remember. I remember walking away from it satisfied.
Yeah.
And being like, he's dead.
Yeah. It's really solid. I really like that. I think it got a bum rap for most people. I think most people, you didn't like it?
No.
We've gone over this.
Yeah, we talked about it. But like, I don't know. I forgot that crack came back, but
crack came back.
I like the way, like, because I feel like he handled it pretty good in the first season, but that's a lot of my complaint with Moffat is he doesn't know when to let things rest. So like every single villain that he's brought back, and you know, letting the Ponds leave, and like he has a good idea, but he just like beats the crap out of it until it's not a good idea anymore.
That's certainly the case, although you could make an argument because, you could make the argument that he's just being a responsible showrunner and not showing his cards, and the cards being BBC telling him he has to keep the pawns around and he has to use the angels again.
Yeah.
It's sort of like being the president, you know?
Yeah. Like sometimes you're not allowed to show those cards. Like it's, out of respect of your job, and it's just the responsible thing to do or whatever. So, for all we know, like, yeah, we're saying that all these things are his fault, but he could just be like taking credit for stuff that he knows.
But the crack is hella dumb.
Yeah,
I think we're on the same page with the crack being really dumb.
I think the crack is dumb. Yeah, I don't think it works.
Well, especially it works fine in this episode. It's when you add it, knowing what you know about Time of the Doctor and, season 1 in general.
Season 5 in general.
Well, yeah. Well, and the rest of season 1, I guess.
Season 5.
I'm sorry. In my brain, I was like 11th Doctor season 1.
Right. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think the mistake, I think it's a cool idea for this one episode. It's the fact that, it became a season-long arc was really silly and doesn't really work for me at all.
And it's such a Moffat-y thing. It's like, oh, the crack, the nursery rhyme, and it's everywhere. What does it mean?
Right.
Is it a zoo?
Right. And then, it comes back at the very, very end. I don't know. It's silly. Same thing with Silence Will Fall. I don't
want to think about that.
It's really strange to me that Silence Will Fall is in the 11th hour. And I just want to go back in time because, Moffat would never admit this now. I want to go back in time and I want to be on the board where Moffat has to explain what Silence Will Fall means. So that I can know for sure whether it was just something that sounded cool or if he knew that in his very first episode, he was going to set up the 11th Doctor's regeneration story. If he knew, maybe he didn't even know what Silence Will Fall meant, but he knew that it had to do with the whatever the 11th Doctor's final story was going to be.
Because isn't it revealed that the Silence isn't that race of aliens? It's like an organization.
Right. It's an organization. And then even the organization that we think it is in season 6, it turns out it's a different organization in Time of the Doctor. So.
Starting to agree with Cass.
Because honestly, guys, I think the thing with Time of the Doctor is if you ignore his first drafts of those things in the earlier seasons, I feel like he just realized what if Silence Will Fall had actually meant this? And he's like, you know what? Now it does. Type. What if the crack had actually been Gallifrey? That's way cooler than what I did before. You know what? Now it is. Type.
Oh my god.
Screw it.
I just feel like the last ones weren't so good. The last ones weren't so good. None of this was real. Well, I'm just gonna do it again. Yeah, and I don't know, and I think when taken as a whole, Time of the Doctor doesn't really work. But when I just think about it in vague terms,
how it made you feel,
yeah, and how the 11th Doctor's tenure went in broad strokes, it works for me.
Mm-hmm. I really like Matt Smith's performance in that episode.
That too, but yeah, we're not talking about that episode.
Karen Gillan's wig.
I love the back in 5 minutes turning into 12 years thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really cool way of setting up a companion, and using time travel to your advantage, which was something that Moffat has always been good at.
Right.
I really like that. I will say it's really weird watching Arthur Darvill as Rory now.
You keep thinking about that.
Yeah, I'm so used to him on Legends of Tomorrow, where he's this totally different character. Like he's this like kind of Indiana Jones meets Doctor Who character.
All right, I'm watching that show now.
I mean, he's literally, he's like, they're not called Time Lords. They're called Time something else. Kings. I forget. They're called, hold on, I'm looking it up. Yeah, and he's just such a totally different, like really confident kind of character on Legends of Tomorrow that it's distracting now seeing him as Rory. Like it's so weird now.
I'll probably be watching that sooner than later.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's excellent. It's a really good show.
Yeah, I'm catching up.
Yeah. It's a really good show.
Cassandra, I just finished season 2 of Arrow.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I have not watched Arrow. I haven't watched any of that DC stuff.
Yeah. I can't find the phrasing on Wikipedia. Isn't using the exact phrasing, and it's driving me crazy.
He's a Time Lord.
Yeah, but he's basically a Time Lord. Like it's literally like he's in front of at the opening of the episode, like he's in front of a tribunal or whatever of just like all of these time dudes like standing around. The Time Masters. Time Masters.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they're the Time Masters. And he's just standing around like this tribunal of Time Masters, and they're all telling him how he can't futz with the timeline the way that he's been doing. Like it's literally the Doctor. He steals a ship. He steals a ship. Oh my
god.
Yeah. He steals a time ship and runs away. And he's a British like Indiana Jones, like Han Solo kind of character.
So we are looking into the window of the alternate universe where Arthur Dalrymple was the Doctor instead of Matt Smith. That's what you're telling me.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Okay. I'm watching this show.
And his companions are Captain Cold, Heatwave, Firestorm, and the Atom. Like
yes.
Yeah, and Hawk Girl. It's crazy. Yeah. But anyway, it's really distracting watching Arthur Darvill. Yeah, he's such a nerd, and he's like the complete polar opposite in Legends of Tomorrow. All this really did, it is distracting, but all it really did was make me go, wow, Arthur Darvill's a really great actor. It's impressive.
He was also in Once.
He was. I thought about that too, but I've never seen him in Once. So I always wanted to, but he didn't do it for very long. Something else I thought was weird.
Scott.
Something else I thought that was weird and a little for Moffat. Moffat is usually pretty smooth with his writing. Like his writing, it doesn't tend to be clunky.
Sure, it's swift. It's like Sorkin-y kind of almost.
Yeah. But the scene where Amy is pretending to be a cop is really ham-handed and awkward and weird.
Who is she talking to?
She's not talking to anyone. She's wearing a costume. She's just talking into a toy. She's just talking into a toy.
It's so weird watching this knowing that she's lying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It only works before you know that she's lying.
Because she's selling it so weirdly well.
Yeah. And like that line where she was like, I've got him apprehended. He says he knows something about Amelia Pond.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would she say that? Why
to no one?
To no one. Like she's a crazy person.
Yeah, because at the time it's like, ooh, what happened to Amelia Pond? Is she missing?
Yeah.
Is she no, she's just a crazy kissogram talking into her like concealer or like her cell phone. Not even her cell phone.
Part of her costume, just part of her costume.
Oh yeah, it comes with a walkie-talkie.
Yeah,
which is a weird part of her costume considering what her job is. You don't need a walkie-talkie. Magic Mike doesn't come in like riot gear.
Yeah.
The first promotional still of her in that costume?
No, I think it was like her weird red blanket thing that she wears.
Yeah. Oh, that like baggy red sweater.
Yeah.
Is that what that was? It always looked like it was made of silk.
I don't know.
No, it was a sweater, I think. I think so.
Well, it's stupid. I'm glad she's dead.
Who Series 5 promo pics. No, it was all the promo pics were her in the really short jean skirt and the like rusty red t-shirt, like top with the leather with the black leather short sleeve jacket.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, she must have been so cold while they filmed all of these.
Yeah, I bet.
I don't think she ever wore pants.
Just in Beast Below with her Jim Jams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I also, something else that I really like about this, because it's one of those things, like I imagine, like I said, that Moffat has probably been thinking about this for so long, that this was like part of his initial idea. Mm-hmm. But like, I love that they incorporate the 10th Doctor's costume into the story of this post-regeneration.
Oh, thing. Yeah.
Like, they don't just get him out of the costume as soon as possible and into his new one. They're just like, no, it's part of the story. This is the Raggedy Doctor. This transitional period before he gets his real costume and is cemented as the 11th Doctor forever. He's the Raggedy Doctor, this little in-between transitional period.
And I gotta say, he wears the Tennant outfit really well.
Yeah, in a weird way, yeah.
Like, looks cool on him.
It does.
Looks like a cool IT guy.
Yeah, he's all, and it's all like tore up and
it's like too small. It's like too big for him because he's not as tall as Tennant.
Yeah. It's cool. Whereas, like, when you look at, the 11 to 12 transition, like, I feel like it would have been more interesting because like 12 is in Jim Jams most of Deep Breath. Right. And it's like he goes from the 11th Doctor's purple outfit to Jim Jams to the outfit that we see him in later. Well, he's in that like top hat thing, right? Isn't that a thing? Yeah. But then he's in his 12th Doctor, and like his 12th Doctor outfit isn't really that much different than the 11th Doctor's purple outfit.
It's just like his suit is now made out of a weirder material.
Right. Right. It would have been really interesting to see 12 in this 11th Doctor outfit first.
I just don't, that's just not what I think about when I think of 12, is that weird,
the purple outfit
costume. I'm always going to think of like t-shirt, hoodie, blazer.
Oh, 12. Oh,
12,
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel too, for sure. I feel like 12's outfit is more of a vibe than it is like a costume.
Like an outfit. Yeah.
It's a way of life.
Yeah. It's like there's always going to be some kind of sweater. There's always going to be like an undershirt and a jacket.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sort of like a vibe. That's why it always throws me when he's not. When it seems like the Doctor is like more business, like in like the proper 12 outfit, it always feels weird.
It's like, that's not him.
Yeah.
He's like a cool retired dad.
And it looks like his clothes like are best when they look like he like pulled them out of like a laundry hamper.
Mm-hmm.
Like a dirty laundry hamper, and just like threw them on. Yeah. That's the best. Anyway, we should stop talking about it. That's not what we're supposed to be talking about.
Karen Gillan's a really good actress.
She is really good. I kind of missed Amy.
I mean, I did miss Amy. Fun Amy.
Yeah, fun Amy. I missed Amy. Oh God, it's weird. I'm looking at the Wikipedia and it like specifically calls out
Fun Amy,
Amelia Pond praying to Santa Claus in her bedroom, and it's 1996. It's like, oh, I never really thought about like what
year.
Well,
Yeah.
like legitimately what year it was.
Yeah, because she's like, it's the past.
Yeah. That's weird.
That's how old I was in 1996, guys.
1996 in it's Easter time, which would have been like March, April-ish. 1996, so it's like 2 months away from the TV movie.
There you go.
There's still time.
There's still time. They could have stopped it.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah. Oh, you know what else I like as far as the use of time travel? The proof that he has only been gone for him like an hour.
Oh yeah, that's so clean.
Oh, the apple.
With the apple. Yeah, with the apple. That's great. Because all I can ever think about is like when Amelia's like, yeah, my mom used to carve faces into the apple. And I was like, yeah, but by the time you get to lunch, that would be brown. Who wants to eat that?
it would look like a friggin' Rob Zombie movie in your pocket.
No. It looks like you have a shrunken head in your pocket. It's terrible. Ugh. Awful.
Also, just imagining Amy's mom just like losing herself for a minute while like carving with a knife into the apple.
Yeah.
Mom. Oh, sorry, Amelia.
Just thinking of your father.
Just thinking of the blade. What's into the apple so clearly. Smoothly like butter.
Oh my
god. So I really like
Raggedy
Doctor. I like it as a
I like how everyone in the neighborhood knows about him. I like the idea of young Amelia, like, you know, Pollyanna or like Anne of Green Gables, just like running around the town and like, you know, yelling about her Raggedy Doctor.
Yeah. And I love and I love that she made Rory dress up.
Yeah.
Which has so many layers.
Oh, it's so good. I love that. Yeah, something else I didn't notice. I didn't notice until this time. Like, I guess I'd never really like looked at it critically, but like when the what are those dudes called? The Atraxi? Yeah, the Atraxi. When the Atraxi show up over the field, and Prisoner Zero's like chilling as that dude and the dog, and he's like, oh, they're looking for alien hardware and they're going to find it because nothing says alien like a sonic screwdriver. And he like fires it up and all of the lights start blowing out and everything. And I guess it never occurred to me because like I always just thought like, oh, he did that and he blew out the lights and then it died. And it didn't occur to me that he also like made that poor woman in the electric wheelchair like go out of control and send the fire truck that he's going to drive later, like just like down the street. Like, I guess it never really occurred to me that those were because of his sonic screwdriver. Not very safe. Not very safe. That poor woman in the electric wheelchair, though. Seriously. Like, oh God!
Damn you, Doctor! Someday you're gonna have a Senate hearing, and I'm gonna hide a bomb under your seat.
Oh my God!
Then you'll see. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, Senator. Sorry.
Have some tea. Yeah, I'm not. I like Prisoner Zero as like a shape-shifting character. Like I think that's cool. I'm confused about the logistics of the snake thing, though. Like, where is it?
Why does it have to be
coming from?
Yeah, where does it hang off of when it's coming from the ceiling?
It reminds me of old Spider-Man cartoons when you see Spider-Man and he's like web slinging above the city, and you're just like, is he just like attaching to clouds? What is it attaching to?
He's just like left, right, left. I do like that at one point, Prisoner Zero assumes the form of BAFTA award-winning actress Olivia Colman.
But what a waste of Olivia Colman.
What a weird way for Olivia Colman to be in Doctor Who.
Just a waste. It's a waste.
It's like that one incredible actress that plays Liz 10.
Right. Totally. But Olivia Colman's like worse because she could be the doctor.
Oh, totally. I think she should be the doctor.
Oh, yeah. But they're not gonna double cast someone twice.
Yeah.
In a row.
It's tradition.
They did that for companions, yeah.
No. I mean double cast them twice in a row, as in
doctor.
like the doctor, as in Capaldi was a dude and then was the doctor, and
right.
The next doctor is not gonna be another dude and then the doctor. You know what I mean? Like
Catherine Tate is the doctor.
because they bent over backwards trying to explain why Capaldi was Capaldi.
Like, oh God, you're right.
They're not gonna do it again because they probably feel obligated to do that again.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. She could be a cool companion though. She could play the same character because the character's in a coma. She could have woken up from the coma.
What did I miss?
Yeah.
What did I miss?
Become a companion.
What did I miss?
That'd be cool. The scene where the doctor like goes into that Skype conference call with all the scientists.
Oh, on Jeff's laptop.
Yeah, I feel like Matt Smith's performance of that scene is like really weird. Cause he's like mumbling his speech.
Fellas. Yeah, it's like sometimes he's talking to himself, sometimes he's talking to them, sometimes he's talking to Jeff.
But it always sounds like he's talking to them.
Yeah.
But
he's narrating when he's sending them. Like
it's just
here's
a weird
diagram of
it's a really weird performance of that moment.
Maybe it's how he was directed.
Maybe. I don't know. It's really
we'll
strange.
never know.
It's not like it feels like he should be more presentational than he is in that moment.
Well, he does have like 30 minutes. Maybe he's just like, okay, here's what I'm sending you so you don't get confused. Keep up with me.
But you know what? You just performed it better than Matt Smith did in that moment.
Oh, well, thank you.
Because you sounded urgent. He doesn't sound urgent. Like he sounds like he's just like, whatever, guys. You know, like I'm gonna send you this thing, and then you know, maybe you want to use it or maybe you don't. Like I just wanted like one of the scientists to be like, what? What's he saying? What's he saying? What?
Why is that mole rat talking to us? Why is he wearing a little suit?
One of the things that I really like, there's that moment where Prisoner Zero like turns into the doctor, and the doctor's like, "That's rubbish. Who's that supposed to be?"
Yeah,
he hasn't had time to look at himself in a mirror yet.
Yeah.
I really like that moment, but what I really like about that moment is what it says about the nature of the doctor and Amy, because when he's like, well, how is it being me? And then Amelia steps out and, you know, as like Prisoner Zero as Amelia, and Amelia's like, oh yeah, I'm not the doctor. I'm her. And she's just thinking about you. But I like what it says about the two of them because it reminds me of like the guy and the dog, only in this case, like the dog is the doctor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is very accurate to the relationship of Amy and the doctor, because she really does treat him like a pet,
like a childhood pet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was something I noticed this time. I really liked that. And then
that runs away and doesn't come back for like 20 years.
Yeah. And then the doctor calls the Atraxi back after they arrest Prisoner Zero, and we get that, like, I will say I understand Moffat's instinct to have Amy be like really into the doctor sexually.
Oh yeah, that's
like I understand the instinct. I don't like intellectually I understand it. It's like, well, yeah, if you're gonna have like this adventure-y guy who's like mysterious and cool and you know, and he's attractive, like why wouldn't you be into that? You know, like I understand it intellectually. It's just man, there's something weird about her just like watching him naked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clearly someone that doesn't really know how that happens in real life, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, right, that's how women check out guys, where it's like, oh, rah, 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 right in front of your like kind of boyfriend.
Right.
Yeah.
And that bothers me too. And I understand that like Amy has some growing to do as a character. And
It just
like,
feels sitcom-y.
Yeah, I understand that it's part of her arc that she grows and like learns to appreciate Rory for who he is and not try to chase like, a grass is always greener situation.
Right.
And so like I understand that, but like it all comes off very false and weird. And I think that's ultimately Moffat's to blame for that. And I just I mean, he has trouble with female characters.
Because it's a really good example of that same joke is there's a really great like 3-panel joke in Hawkeye where like Clint is like changing shirts in the car while Kate is like driving, and there's like one panel where her like sunglasses go down.
Yeah.
And he's like, Clint, and he's like, what? Really? Seriously with the abs? And like that feels honest.
Right.
Because, like, we've all had moments where we're like, oh, wow, my platonic friend is, like, really attractive, And that's just not how that moment happens in real life.
I mean, yeah, like here she looked at him almost predatory.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that.
Which is, like, again.
I'm going to get that.
Which is, like, a normal reaction for, like, someone to have with someone, but not that person with that person.
Next to that other person.
All of a sudden, just because he's like has his clothes off.
Right. It's
like she turns into
weird.
And
there was like a weird like confidence level of the doctor just being like, you can look away if it makes you uncomfortable. And you're just like, okay, like the doctor, that's not the doctor. Like he wouldn't say anything about it. He would just change because he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like he wouldn't like just be like, oh, if my nakedness makes you so uncomfortable.
Because he's calling attention to it. He wouldn't do that. He would just be like, all right, clothes are coming off now. Like,
and I feel like there's another in the greatest episode of the show's ever made, The Lodger. There's also a scene where the doctor appears naked and like a woman has like a positive reaction to it. But I remember that moment feeling a lot more natural because I think Matt Smith reacted the way that the doctor would.
Even in remember the episode the Christmas special where he has he's like walking around naked or whatever and everyone sees him as naked but he's not naked. Yeah. And like that's it's a stupid joke but it's like it's doctory, like the fact that he's not even taking into consideration like that's more doctory than this moment where he's like really confident about his naked body.
He's like shaking his little booty.
Yeah.
Little baby butt.
You just like prepare
yourself.
Prepare for this.
You're
gonna want this.
All of this.
You're gonna want this.
Oh my God.
I used to play football. I used to play football till I hurt my ankle. No, I'm not.
The scene on the roof is one of my all-time favorite scenes in Doctor Who.
Oh, it's great.
Oh, it's so good. Where he steps out of like the screen and he's just like, he's got his bow tie and cement. It's so good.
And he just had that line like, hello, I'm the doctor, basically run.
Run,
like,
yeah.
Oh, so good.
It's kind of like he does everything that David Tennant does in The Christmas Invasion, but with that one monologue.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's so good.
And it's a very cool precursor. It's the first of, 2 or 3 or 4 great Matt Smith monologues.
Right.
I mean, you got the one in Pandorica, you got the one in Rings of Akaten, which is not as celebrated, but I personally really love that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like that one too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Really, really great moment. And then the doctor just like he just gets out of there for 2 more years.
Now, how long was it? Was it like 6 months or like 8 months?
No, it's 2 years.
Oh, it's 2 years. Oh my God, that sucks.
Yeah. He takes a lap around the moon, and it took him 2 years.
So Amy has already seen episode 8.
No, because it's 2010.
But like if it happened today,
Oh, yeah.
you would have already seen episode 8.
Right. Wait, no. That means that the Prisoner Zero stuff was 2008.
Right.
Wait.
Yeah, because the end of the episode is 2010, the year that the episode came out.
Oh, that's okay. So they returned to the present.
Well, he finally makes it to the present.
Yeah, so it ends with we're caught up with reality.
Right.
That's
yeah. It says on Wikipedia. It says Ledworth 96, 2008, and 2010.
But then it would be like, because isn't the gap between his initial meeting of Amelia and then with the Prisoner Zero stuff, isn't that 10 years?
12 years.
12? Okay.
Yeah, because
so
then it's 14
altogether.
Yeah,
okay.
14 altogether.
So the entire time Solomon Northrop was a slave.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how old Amy is.
At the start of her adventure?
But yeah, how old is she in 96, would you say?
Oh, 96.
Like 8 or 9.
Like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
The 8 or 9. All right, so let's cut. Okay, so 8 or 9.
She's like
how old?
22.
So she's like, yeah, so she's 20 in when he meets her again, and then 22. I don't like that. She is not. She looks older than that to me.
Sure. Well, how old is Karen Gillan in real life?
I don't know.
That's a fact. You can look up.
Let me go see.
It'll just have to tell you.
Name.
She's 30, right?
Born in Scotland. Doesn't say a time frame. Her Wikipedia says nothing about how old she is.
So she's ageless. She could be thousands of years old.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
She directed a really good short film that's on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, I forgot the name of it, but she plays an actress that was in a cult horror film from the 2000s, and she's
28.
She's 28. Okay,
currently.
So that means that when 11th hour,
she would be 22 and 6 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, she really hit that sweet spot of looking older than 22, but being 22 and getting to play like young hot women for like an extended period of time.
She's kind of like she's just I think she looks mature. Like I remember not being able to believe that I'm older than like Kate Upton.
Yeah. She does. She looks mature.
Yeah.
Remember Selfie, guys? Remember Selfie?
Oh, that TV show?
Yeah, with John the Man Cho.
John Cho is romantic lead.
Damn.
Yeah.
Have you guys been keeping up with hashtag John Cho and everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
So good.
It's great. It's pretty good.
Yeah, so I guess she's 20 in 2008 and then 22 in 2010. Huh.
You know what scene I don't like, and I don't think I've ever liked it? It's that scene where he's like out in the field and he's like looking at all the stuff. Yeah, and it's like that clicking noise, and it's very like methodical. Like he goes from like point A to like point B, and it's like very Sherlock.
Yeah, it is very Sherlock.
I really don't like that scene either.
It never comes up again. Yeah. Yeah,
I've always tried to like justify it somehow in my brain, but I've never been able to. It's weird.
It's like the pilot haircut of this episode.
Yeah.
It's like we will never do this again.
Yeah.
Really weird. It did not work at all.
Was Sherlock out yet?
No.
No.
Oh wow.
No.
So Moffat was like, I didn't crack it this time, but I think I still can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just the director was different. Oh no, Sherlock came out the same year.
Oh.
Sherlock and
Doctor Who.
And Doctor Who, he did both the same year. He started both the same year. It's crazy.
Must have been so tired.
when did season 1 premiere? In July.
So like 3 months after this, 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, this was April, 1st of April. Yeah, so like 4 months. It's like end of July, so it was like 5 months later.
Yeah,
but no one knew who Benedict Cumberbatch was.
Benedict Cumberbatch was almost the Doctor.
Wow.
God, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they offered it to him, and basically he was like, "Hey, I want you to do either of these." So you can. And
Matt Smith was almost Watson.
Yeah,
I did not know that. That's really interesting.
Yeah,
yeah. They thought that Moffat said that he was really good, but they thought he was a bit too like Matt Smithy.
As much as I dislike Sherlock, I can't imagine Watson being anyone other than Martin Freeman, though.
Oh my god, the best part of Civil War is people's reactions when Martin Freeman is revealed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's weird that they're both in the Marvel universe now.
I know, I hate it.
And they'll never meet. They will never. There's no way they would ever meet.
Yeah,
because all the Sherlock I don't know. Most of my antagonistic feelings about Sherlock come from like the 15% of the fandom that's like completely bonkers.
Oh, the fandom's always the problem.
Yeah. So like now that it's in the MCU, I'm just like, please keep your filthy Sherlock weird AU crossovers away from me. Because it happened with The Hobbit, and I'm just like, I don't need to see this with my 2 eyes. Like, please just keep it away.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Behold my golden belt.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned Smaug. I've been using the visual of people laying on their bellies surrounded by gold like twice to describe people like this week, like separately. Like sliding down a mountain of gold. Like I'm really in love with the visual of like a fat dragon, like just like a dragon is like an old like Alaskan Malamute, just like surrounded by gold. Sure.
I mean, yeah. As far as Matt Smith is Watson, I don't think. I think when Matt Smith was going to be Watson, it was under the impression that Benedict Cumberbatch was going to be the Doctor. So, like, Matt Smith would have had a different Sherlock.
So that would have been really different.
Yeah. So like, it would have been a totally different thing, I think. I don't know. I think everything fell into place quite nicely.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if they made like a Red Nose Day video where like that all happened.
Oh, that'd be interesting. What were you going to say, Cass?
Oh, I can't imagine Benedict Cumberbatch as the Doctor, especially not like the 11th Doctor.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if Benedict Cumberbatch was the Doctor, we would have gotten like Peter Capaldi Doctor like way sooner.
Yeah.
He just strikes me as kind of like crotchety. I don't know.
Well, you would think that, but I think he's only getting cast as crotchety stuff because of Sherlock.
That's fair.
Prior to Sherlock, he was in a radio drama for BBC called Cabin Pressure.
The airplane one, right?
Yeah. And he's a goofball on that. Like he's like a total goofball. And so like I could see that alternate, like that fork in the road of him just being like, well, I could continue playing a goofball, but doing it as the Doctor, or I could start taking myself a little more seriously and play Sherlock, but still get to do the fun stuff. Like I could see as a career decision why he went with Sherlock over Doctor.
I really like him in Warhorse for like all 15 minutes that he's there. Like,
yeah, he's good at
that. Yeah.
He's always
super good.
Yeah. I think, and I'm hoping I'm also hoping that Doctor Strange is more like fun than it looks.
Yeah.
Because that would be nice.
He's literally playing the Grinch.
He is playing the Grinch.
Are they doing another one of those?
Yeah, CGI one.
Oh God.
It's the people who made like the Lorax and
oh Lord.
Horton Hears a Who.
And the Minions.
And the Minions.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Which is on Netflix.
Oh, good. Glad to hear about it. Yeah, so let's talk about real quick. I want to talk about the TARDIS interior because
Good.
it looks a lot smaller to me now than it did when I first saw it.
Well, that happens sometimes when you grow up, Scott.
No. I think
As
this
I
is
think
one of my favorite TARDIS interiors.
It's really good. It's really
Like watching
Yeah.
this again with the reveal, I'm just like, oh man, it's so good to see this TARDIS again. And I remember the first time like watching it, I like lost my like, I don't know. It was so good. There's something about this because it's super. It looks like it makes no sense, but it also like is functional, and it fits Matt Smith's personality really well, especially like this early Doctor.
It looks like a Dr. Seuss drawing.
Yeah.
Like it looks like if Dr. Seuss designed the TARDIS, this is what it would look like.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's really great. It's really, really great. Like I really love this TARDIS a lot. I like how like ever since this TARDIS and like the next two, I mean they're both pretty similar, but the next two TARDISes after this, they use that vertical space rather than just horizontal space. Because you have like the undercarriage of the TARDIS console and stuff.
Right.
Like, I really like that. I think it's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I really like this TARDIS interior. Do you like it, Nick?
I mean, the more we reflect on like the 11th Doctor and like Matt Smith and like the Cat in the Hat Doctor and the Man with the Crazy Box, I think if I could like boil down like the 11th Doctor into like a sentence, it's like how a child imagines he or she will be like when they grow up.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh yeah, when I'm grown up, I'm gonna do whatever I want. I'm gonna live. Me and my best friend Amy are gonna travel the stars, and like I'll have a time machine, but it'll be made out of like gears and like stuff that I think is cool.
Yeah.
And like I'm not gonna like girls are weird, but then later girls don't get weird. I don't know. Like, and I remember there's this quote that Stephen Moffat had about Matt Smith, the actor. Like personally, where he was like, Matt Smith reminds me of a young man as remembered by an old man.
That's interesting. I like that.
Where he's sort of like, he embodies a sort of like nostalgic or wish fulfillment-y view of like young adulthood or like, adulthood.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the theory of like how every Doctor is an answer to the Doctor before them. Like I like the 11th Doctor as an answer to the 10th Doctor, who just got so bogged down with bad memories and drama and was so like brokenhearted all the time. And then like you get this Doctor from that Doctor because he's just like in denial now, you know, like he's just
still young. I party with the kids.
Yeah, he's just carefree and in denial, and it's great.
I'm gonna marry Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah. Well, let's not talk about that. Yeah, and then we get the wedding gown. I love that Amy was just like, it's been 2 years, and Amy just has all of this Amy Doctor shipping crafts like everywhere.
Fan art.
Like all of fan art and arts and crafts. Just like it's so funny. Like it's just all out.
What if there was one piece of like Rory Doctor art? Like slash
She
art.
allowed herself to go there once.
Just like once in middle school.
Yeah. Yeah. Am I into this?
No.
I like the idea, because I know it's like sitting out in her bedroom, but I like the idea of her like pulling all of her old kid stuff out, like just kind of like sitting there.
Like, the night before her wedding.
Yeah, like, because like I don't know, I have a box of like old stuff when I used to play with as a kid, and like, I mean, I don't like. There's just no point for me to have it, but it's there, and like, so like I like the idea that she's at this crossroads. She's like, this was cool, but it's been 2 years, and he's probably never coming back, and I'm going to be married tomorrow, so maybe I should settle. Like, yeah. Oh, Rory is so good. But like, and then he comes back and she's just like, oh, okay. So
it's so funny. Like, did I mention it's a time machine? And she's like, and
that was the same thing that got Rose on board.
Yeah.
It's a big attraction.
Yeah. Did I mention it also travels in time? Could you imagine if it was the other way around? Like, where somebody's like, yeah, I have this time machine. Oh, yeah, I don't care. Have I mentioned it also travels in space?
I can go to the past version of planets I've never been to.
Well, that's like the TARDIS versus the DeLorean. Because the DeLorean always only goes so far as you can drive it.
Right.
So, like, you're pretty much stuck in, like, a region. But the TARDIS is just like, whatever. No rules.
Yeah.
It'd be a great like Back to the Future 4 like reveal is like, but Doc, we're in Italy. Yeah, well, so's this bitch. And then like the truck door opens and like the DeLorean is now like in freaking Italy. Like,
the international Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why the TARDIS I think is like the greatest vehicle, like fictional vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
In like just in everything
it's the ultimate vehicle.
Yeah, it's the greatest thing ever.
You can draw it in the background of any comic or cartoon.
Yeah, it's a home, it's a vehicle. It's just like endlessly spacious. I really like Moffat referencing it as more than just the console room.
Oh yeah. Like the library, like the swimming pool
and the library, and the way things move around, where just like it'll come up, like
the cat.
I'll find it again, and it's something that Russell T never really did. Like he really just treated the TARDIS as the console room, and then like some vague off-screen area that characters would walk in from occasionally.
Yeah. Because the only other time that we see a space in the TARDIS, I don't know, I might be wrong about this, but like in the Christmas Invasion, he has that wardrobe room.
Right.
And then we never see it again.
Right. I think you're right. I think that's the only time in the entire Russell T Davies era.
Which is weird to think about. Because we've, been like journeyed to the center of the TARDIS and whatever.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With Oswin.
So yeah, how about that coming soon trailer? Woo, that got me excited.
I wanted to watch all of it.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I really did like this season a lot. Oh my God. Oh, so much good stuff. Like, and it has like fond memories for me too, just because, that this season is the season that started this show.
Yeah. It was a really fun time to be a Whovian.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was a major transition. It was a big.
Yeah, the show felt like it had some buzz that it hadn't in a long time.
Yeah.
So Scott, what is our next episode?
Our next episode is The Cavemen, a 3-part story for the first Doctor.